Q, thumbs up if you can hear me. Gorilla, I see you. Mama, I see you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Gotta get it. TMLA JV basketball, thanks for getting on. Mary Anagnast, thank you for getting on. And welcome to another episode 41 of the Positive Impact Podcast, where we talk about all topics relevant to the game that I love. I am your host, Terrell Dozier, and we're coming to you at a special time today with a special guest and a special coach. Our guest today is none other than Syracuse women's head basketball coach, Mr. Quentin. Q,
What's up?
what's going on with you?
Man, slow motion, man. Nothing. Everything cool.
Appreciate you getting on here with me, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
No doubt about it, man. So first things first, man, how are you and your family getting along during this pandemic?
Man, we great, man. You know, at the end of the day, man, my kids play video games well all the time, so they getting it. All good here, man.
Good. Glad to hear it. So let's jump right in. Let's talk about growing up in Maryland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And let's talk about how you fell in love with the game of basketball.
Man, you know, growing up in the DMV, man, the DC area, basketball was just a way of life. Is what you did. You ain't go swimming, you ain't go play no baseball, you ain't go do nothing. You went to hoop. So I got the game that got forced on me at like age 4 or 5. I remember the first time I played basketball in an organized setting. I had to go to the rec center and lie about my age. I had to say I was 6 and I was 5. And you had those little rec cards. You had your little green rec card, and you kind of change your age so you can get in there and go play. And I remember when I was going to middle school, the guy running the rec center said, "You just going to middle school?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I lied, man. I was 5." so the game was the game, man. We just loved it, and honestly, man, the rec center it was a safe haven for us, man. We hooped there, we ate there, we studied there, we had tutoring there. I mean, it was the rec center was home. If your parents spanked you, the dude the rec center could spank you too. So that's what it was, you know.
Long time ago.
They had the green light to tear your ass up.
Yeah, long time ago. Woo.
Now you better touch nobody's kid. You can't talk to them now. Like they tear you up and you can never when you got home.
Exactly. No question about it, man.
Facts.
So Forestville High School, man. You was a player there, man. Talk about your time in developing your game in high school.
Wow, man. Forestville was it, man. Coach Aaron Holder, he was my basketball coach, and he was very, very disciplined. He was very much a fundamentally sound coach. Taught me the fundamentals of the game. Taught me how to play. You know, back in those days, I always tell kids now, you weren't a guard, you weren't a post. You learn how to do drop steps. You learn how to put the ball on the floor. You learn how to do the mic and drill when you was a guard. So you learn how to play the game. And I think that's what allowed me to coach the game, because I learned at an early age on how to play every position. Even though I was a point guard, I learned how to play every position. And you know, that's all Aaron Holder, man. He was a monster with that thing, man, and he really taught us the game.
Cool. And so now Forestville High School led you to Johnson C. Smith.
Yeah, Johnson C. Smith. I went there for a year, man. Was an unbelievable year. I was young, man. I was 17, 18 years old, and I didn't get it. So I had to get up out of there, man. And ended up leaving Smith and going to St. Mary's College in Maryland. I can tell you right now, man, Johnson C. Smith was a phenomenal year for me. Played with Steve Joyner there, who's an amazing coach, still there, still winning, still getting all kinds of W's. He forgot how to lose, you know. So he's still in CIAA championships every year, you know, fighting to win that thing. He really taught me a lot about life, man. He taught me a lot about growing up and being a young man and having some responsibility. And I didn't take it too well, to be, you know, just to be quite honest. I just didn't, you know, I didn't conform to the things they needed me to do. And I definitely should have, because it was a lesson now that I know that was a life skill and life lesson. Life skills about learning how to be a man at some point, man. And that's what he was doing. And I think the St. Mary's College ended up getting the product of that, of Coach Holder and of Coach Joyner, who took all the bumps and bruises for me to get to St. Mary's and kind of polished me up a little bit. And when I got to St. Mary's, I was able to have a solid career and move on from there. And I played for Jay Gardner there. I played with Bob Valvano also at St. Mary's, two great coaches that taught me the game. And man, and then from there I went to Europe, played for a couple of years, and got into coaching. Man, it was basketball has been everything to me, man. I can't even tell you where I'd be without the game.
No question about it. So I want to touch on your experience at Johnson C. Smith.
Yes.
Later on. We're going to come back to it.
Yeah.
I think what you just said was very, very important.
Yeah, sure.
So you get back into coaching, and you start at St. Mary's. Now you're the head women's coach at Syracuse University, but you got your start on the men's side.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So talk about the journey. You know, like, you know, went from college to high school to prep school. Like, you done coached on every level. Talk about your journey through the coaching from St. Mary's to Syracuse.
Man, shoot, man, how much time we got, man? My goodness. You know what, man? My journey, for lack of a better word, was kicking and screaming.
Right.
I really ain't want to do it, man. I gotta probably try to walk it backwards. I really wanted to be an agent. That's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I really wanted to be an agent. So, you know, after I got finished playing, and I was at St. Mary's College, and I was back in the area, and they said, "Come up here and help us." You know, I'm like, I don't really want to coach, but I need to finish my master's degree. So I went there and did an internship, and also coached on their staff, and it was a good time for me. You know, going back, honestly, man, to a place that quite honestly saved my life, man. I went there, got a degree, and obviously during those times, I mean, and even now, I mean, I don't want to say during those times, but a degree is so important to be able to kind of springboard you into what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to St. Mary's and just had a great year there, and you know, I was comfortable, and it was home.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, fast forwarding through that, I went to the Newport School,
Mm-hmm.
and I was there on the boys' side with Chris Cheney, my man. Love that dude to death. He's just phenomenal prep high school grassroots coach, still doing it, and he's still killing it. Also there with Keith Stevens, who's a team takeover now. We're on the same staff. Me, Keith Stevens, Steve Turner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you talk about there's some really talented Cedric Baker, who's a staple in the PG County area, and a staple in the Park and Recs. I mean, I can just name all kinds of people that we were involved with, and our team was loaded. I mean, Coach DeMar Johnson, I coached him in high school. Rodney White, Jameson Brewer played in the NBA. Eric Will, I mean, James White played at Cincinnati, played in the league.
Yeah.
We had a lot of really, really good players, man, and a lot of just good, solid players. You know, some of them wasn't about being NBA guys. Some were just really good college basketball players who went on and just did great things. A kid named Dwayne Shackelford. We always talk about Dwayne Shackelford. He was a freshman on our team, and Dwayne Shackelford thought he was the best player on our team. We had DeMar Johnson, Rodney White, James Brewer, NBA dudes. He's like, "Give me the ball. Why you getting the ball to them? You want to lose?" Like, and Shaq ended up going on playing at USC. I know I'm forgetting a lot of great players there. And somebody gonna text me in a minute. Oh, you forgot about so and so? Yeah.
Right.
We
I'm
were
getting
so
in trouble, man.
we were loaded, man. We were so good, man. Such a really good basketball team. And Chris Shady was the head coach and well coached. And then during that time, I was also there to finish up my master's degree and doing a mentorship and fundraising. And I was also working in basketball because, mind you, I didn't want to be a basketball coach. I really just wanted to be an agent. And then I took over the girls program and at Newport, and it was a summer league game, and the headmaster said, listen, they were in transition, trying to find a new coach. Shout out to my man Ryan Nichols. I gotta give him some love. That's my old video dude. That's my man.
Okay.
My dude. So yeah, so I moved and started doing the girls during that summer. I remember that I told the headmaster, I said, listen, I'm gonna coach this one game because in Maryland it's funny, you have a summer league game during the school year, then you take like 3 weeks off, and then you pick back up. So it's perfect. I said, listen, I'll do this one game. I'm gonna go do this one game, and that's it. So I remember the game, and I remember the game. So we were playing HD Woodson, and back then they were just loaded. I mean, they was ridiculous, right? And we were playing HD Woodson, and everybody's like, you have no chance winning that game. I was like, I don't want to win. I just want to get the kids there safely and get them back home.
Right.
I don't want to win. Like I'm being a chaperone. All right. So I go coach the game. We ended up, and trust me, it had nothing to do with me. It had something to do with a couple of good players we had on that team that were really solid. We ended up going to double overtime with HD Woodson. HD Woodson the year before beat the team by like 70, and they won all these city championships. And when the game was over, Coach from HD Woodson said, "One day you're gonna be good." And from that point on, I said, "You're right." And that's what started to spark me to want to coach. It was just a competitive thing of it, and I just never will forget that day. I'll give you the PG version of the situation, right? But and from that point on, man, I just really just fell in love with coaching, and I don't want to say for it's just, it just sparked me, and I really still want to be an agent, but I still want to be an agent. Right? So yeah, man, it was just that that was my journey to actually start to really want to coach, and then just moved on from there, and went to Siena College, and I went there to interview for the job at Siena. Never thought I would get it. I mean, I was like, great, I'm going to interview, and my boy, who I met you through, Cliff Warren.
Yeah, Uncle Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff was on the men's side, and honestly, man, that weekend, our goal was to go up there and I can go interview, and Cliff and I can go hang out and party a little bit. I can spend a weekend with him and go home. And I went and interviewed at Siena with Gina Castelli, and man, just fell in love with this lady. Man, just an unbelievable coach, unbelievable person. Her work ethic was it was just, honestly, man, I didn't know if I could do the job. I didn't know how to be a college coach.
Right.
And talking to her and all the things that we spoke about, I was like, man, this is gonna be a tough job for me to really be able to do this. But Gina and I spoke, and I was leaving the job interview to get ready to go home, and she said, I want to offer you the job. What do you think? I'm like, and I looked at, true story, I looked at Cliff. I said, Cliff, what do you think? He goes, whatever you want to do. Because I didn't expect to get the job.
Yeah.
Got the job and was there for 2 years. We won the championship there, went to the NCAA tournament there. Amazing coach. We had great players, and Gina was an unbelievable coach, X&O coach, and I was average. I did the best I could, but I didn't know what I was doing, right? But I had a great time, met some great people. It was just an unbelievable experience. I left there, went to American University with Shan Hart, who's an unbelievable coach as well. Went there, had a great experience, but she taught me a lot about the game. Gina told me a lot about work ethic. Shan told me a lot about the game. left there, went to prep school, back reunited back with Chris Chaney at the
Mm-hmm.
Patterson, at Laurinburg first.
Mm-hmm.
Left Laurinburg, went to Patterson school. I was quitting I've been quitting every day, right? Because I want to be an agent. Got to the Patterson school, man, and just and got to Alabama. And I got to Alabama. That was it, man. Once I got to that level and saw what it's like being around, BCS level basketball, I said, man, this is something that I could really, really, really do and make a pretty solid career out of. And in the Syracuse as an assistant, then got promoted to a head coach. And 15 years later, I'm still here and I'm still quitting. I'm quitting. The agent. I'm gonna start my
So,
agent tomorrow, man. I'm
so
starting tomorrow.
all right. So listen, man, you was the assistant coach for 1 year.
I was the assistant coach for 1 year here, and we had a solid recruiting class. We had myself and Matt Luno, who was he's one of my best friends. Met him at Siena and reunited with him at Syracuse. I've just been fortunate, man, to be around great people, and every time I made a move, I got reunited back with Chris Chaney. Man, even go further back, I got reunited with Shan Hart, because Shan Hart was the women's coach at St. Mary's.
Right.
Reunited with Shan Hart, reunited with Chris Chaney,
Mm-hmm.
And then reunited with Cliff, who was a friend forever.
Yeah.
The Syracuse reunited back with Matt Luno.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's just been that. I was here for a year, and head coach here, and it was Keith Saplicki, an amazing guy, man. He's a really, really good dude, and really strong in the ministry. And he really, talk about somebody who he just followed his passion, said, I want to really, get into the ministry. And he resigned from the position here, and now he's still in the area running the ministry and running the jail ministry here, doing a fantastic job. And
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like I was here, and AD said, you want to do it? You want to be? I said, yeah.
So
I
I
have a
mean,
job. I have a
yeah.
job, so we had to eat. Let's go.
Right. No question.
Right?
No question.
And
So so you did it. You did it though, and you know what I mean? Like you said, 15 years later, had a rough start. The first year, obviously it's the first year blues, but we averaging over 20 wins a season. We don't want over 60% of the games for somebody who want to be an agent is quitting tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And so, you're building your reputation as a recruiter, you know what I mean? And when this is the first time that you and I talk. And what I like about you and what I've noticed about you is kind of like, all right, this could be somebody who just lived right down the road from me. Like, you understand what I'm saying? This dude could be somebody from my neighborhood. Like, you know what I mean? So, I think, that part of it is great. And then, 2015, 2016, y'all have a magical run.
Yeah,
y'all have 20 wins wasn't enough. We had to go out and get 30. And then we get into the tournament, and then we start building momentum, Now all of America is behind Syracuse, and you get to the national finals against UConn. Talk about that year where it all clicked for you.
That year started 3 years prior to that with that class, and we brought in, man. We had an amazing recruiting class. That team they were juniors on that Final Four team in the championship game, and Breonna Butler, Brittany Sykes were pretty much the headliners of that class, and they were just two McDonald's All-Americans, just pros, right? Both of them got drafted, playing the league, and then also in that class we had Taylor Ford. She's from New York, played at St. Michael's with Apache Nazareth. Nazareth with Apache. One of my best friends was World Guard.
All right.
Would not be here without him. Like some coaches get to places and talk about it's their X's and O's. For mine, it's APACH Apache. It's period. Because we were just really good friends before I became a college coach. We were friends well before I started coaching. We met in New York, and when we were young, and quite honestly, man, we just developed a relationship as just friends, and just so happened I happened to get to a BCS level, and he happened to have the top AAU girls program in the country, and we just and from there, he had a lot of great players. Kia Vaughn, Angela Barrett, Tiffany Prince. And of course I'm forgetting 20 other people that's going to text me and tell me who else he had. But we started with Erica Morrow, Tasha Harris. Tasha Harris is one of the toughest point guards, one of the toughest kids that I've ever coached. Just a phenomenal player. Shakira Leary, Chandrea Jones, Juanita Ward. We were just loaded, man. We had some really good players here at Syracuse, and then that class with Brittany Sykes that was the one, man. And those kids really got it going. And then when we got Alexis Peterson, I remember I was going to see Brittany Sykes play, and she denies this to the day. But this is the truth. I was going to see Brittany Sykes play, and Matt said, "You should look at the other point guard on the team named Alexis Peterson." That's okay. So I ended up watching her, and I'm like, man, this kid took a charge in the AAU game and did a backflip and was like flipping over, was happy. I was like, who does that? Right. It's a tough, hard-nosed kid. And Britt was denied it to the day, and Britt had to play point guard with her team because her team had lost their point guard. Man, she turned Brittany into Mark Jackson. She was backing her down the court. She couldn't face her. She couldn't face her. And she said, nah. I said, no, you cannot turn and face the kid. She was a tough kid. And we got Petey, man, and that run just started to happen. And the run really came because we got blown out twice. We got our ass kicked twice. Louisville blew us out. Notre Dame blew us out. We were in conference play, and I remember we went, and I said to them, I said, y'all, we can't do this, y'all. I said, we got to make a decision. I said, either we're going to fight or we're not. And he said, Coach, let's go. And from that point on, I think we ended the season like 18-2. And those kids just fought, and they believed. And we just had really, really good players. Keith Stevens, what's up, homeboy?
Oh, I see Keith up on there.
My man, I was talking about you, homeboy. So yeah, we just started to run, man. And those kids just believed, man. They fought hard. And they just believed in what we did, and I just started telling them, like, listen, I'm gonna be over here. If y'all need me, let me know. Y'all just go hoop. And we just started just getting it going, man. Those kids made plays, made shots, and nobody gives a chance to even advance in the tournament during those years. It was crazy, but I just knew we had tough kids and really good players, man. They got it done, and we just got through the tournament and got to that game. We're just 40 minutes away from winning the championship, man. It's an unbelievable thing, man. Unbelievable.
No doubt about it, man. So all-time winningest coach at Syracuse history, again, the guy who's quitting tomorrow is the all-time winningest coach in Syracuse history. You know what I'm saying? So now I want to go back to your 1 year at Johnson C. Smith, because now you're responsible for giving the experience to the players that you bring in. So how did that experience at Johnson C. Smith shape how you coach these kids today?
It really showed me how, if you don't respect the game and you don't do everything you were supposed to, like I was always scared of my coaches. So I wasn't disrespectful, but I was always scared of my basketball coaches because they were like my fathers, and I never wanted to let them down. And I knew that I was at Johnson C. Smith, and I was really letting Coach Joyner down. And I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do to be a good person, and to be a person that he could depend on every day. And I knew that I cheated him. And when you start to understand that you took some things for granted, and that life tomorrow is not promised to you in basketball. When you talk about life, it's about basketball life, because something can take it away from you. And I hurt my foot my freshman year there, and just I just couldn't get healthy, and things were just happening to me that had never happened before. And I always say, man, it's the basketball gods, man. It's you disrespect the game gonna disrespect you. Right. And when I started to really just do what I needed to do, and just lucky, I had a dad who wasn't taking no shit, right? Mm-hmm. He was like, listen, if you ain't gonna do it, don't do them people like that, right? So my dad came home, Ended up going to St. Mary's College about an hour and a half down the road, and I can just tell you, man, just being at Smith was just a really good experience for me because it really taught me how to be on my own, you know, and be away from home and to grow up a little bit and not take things for granted.
Nah, no question about it. So in recruiting, I've talked to a ton of coaches, everybody wants a high character kid and whatever the case may be. What's different? What different thing besides high character, obviously passing the eye test? Give me something, a different ingredient that Coach Q looks for a Syracuse kid.
Do you hate losing? How hard do you take losing? Because if it don't matter, it don't matter, right? You just go through and coach through it and say it's whatever. I want kids, man, to lose games and they're crushed. You know, I want kids that lose games, they in the gym shooting, after the game, or I want kids who lose and they're trying to figure it out. And that's an important ingredient. And a lot of times too, that's kind of hard to figure out in the recruiting process. You kind of get that more when they get there, but you can kind of get a little glimpse of how hard people take losses. You're not the one to say, yeah, we lost, but I had 25. So what? We lost. So what does it really matter? So I think that's it. Kids who hate losing.
Mm-hmm. And so obviously we just went through your resume, and you've been an assistant coach. Talk about the difference, and I talk about 6 inches of separation, I call it. You know what I'm saying? Where you're the assistant coach. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, you move 6 inches to the left, and every loss is your fault. You know what I'm saying? Anything that happens negatively is your fault. You know what I'm saying? Talk about the difference between those 6 inches.
The funny part about it is, if you lose what you learn as an assistant, it doesn't matter what you do with these. When you start setting up a coach in the game, because you're not going to be successful. You can't forget certain things that you experience as an assistant. The one thing that I always said is important is that the things that made you a great assistant are the things that doesn't make you a great head coach. And I always felt that I could sign kids. I was a solid recruiter. So my biggest thing, what's up, Tiana? So my biggest thing was just being able to sign great players, and to make sure you have players that can come in and help you win, and the players that had talent and that had drive and that had push. So those are the things that I took to being a head coach. I never wanted to stop recruiting, so I continued to recruit. And the biggest thing is just like you have so much more fun. Like you said, I always tell my staff, always tease them. I was like, listen, when the game over, we get our head cracked, and I made the decisions to do something and not do something. I'm at the press conference. You guys already at the restaurant. So many more things that you have to do. But I can tell you the one thing I say about my staff though, I give them credit. If I do media after, when I come back in the locker room, they still sitting there and they're waiting on me, saying, "What's up? What we gotta do?" And that's important, man. You gotta have the right people around you, the people who are gonna grind with you. And I've been very fortunate in that aspect to just have really good people around me and good coaches and people that cared about our program, cared about the game. But most importantly, man, it's about you have to have great players, man. You have the players that can make you good. Anytime a coach starts thinking it's about them, that's when they just lost, because it's not. It's about the people that's around you, and I believe that.
Talk about the atmosphere in the Carrier Dome. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care who you bring in there, but you're in the ACC.
Yeah.
What's the Carrier Dome like on the night when Notre Dame comes to town, man? And talk about that atmosphere and the electricity that's in that building, man, for a Syracuse women's game.
So much better, man. When we first got here, we didn't have a lot of fans in stands, but now we play Notre Dame. It's gonna be 7,000-8,000 people there, and we're gonna have it. It's gonna be loud, and we're gonna always know that they're gonna give us a chance to win the game. And it is unbelievable. And the mystique of that place of you coming there thinking you're shooting into a football field and all this kind of stuff, all that stuff. The first thing people say, it's cold. And man, how you shooting here? I'm like, well, 5-0 us. Right? You know what I'm saying? That's what the dome gets you. But we have loyal fans. We're really doing a really good job of starting to get the people in the season, our marketing department and our athletic department, our AD, and they're really getting behind us and really helping us to build a great home court atmosphere. But really, more importantly, when they're helping us build a great brand.
Right, no question about it. So I want to flip switches for a second. Obviously we are, we've been in a pandemic for a while. Obviously, we have this, this other pandemic coming. We got the COVID-19 pandemic, and then we got this social injustice pandemic going on in our country right now. So I want you to talk to me. I got two questions. This is a two-part question. One, I want to know how you've managed your team during these times,
Mm-hmm.
and on a personal level, I know you have two. I know you have two sons at home.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind sharing, talk about the conversation that you have with your sons to help them understand a little better what's going on.
Absolutely, I'm gonna work backwards. I'm gonna start with my team.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was very important going into the pandemic that we were very conscious of them. And what I mean by that is conscious of them and their time and the things that they have to deal with. Because when your year gets stopped so abruptly, you have to understand that everyone's trying to figure it out. I didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do. But we have solid parents on our team. I mean, the players and the parents are unbelievable supporters, and they got really solid homes. So I knew that the first thing that I had to do was let our kids go home and be parented, and to give it to people, their mom, their dads, really solid families that really love them, and to let them know that it's going to be okay at home first. And I remember when our players were leaving, and we had a conversation about going home and being safe and what have you. I heard all these coaches, I'm gonna do Zoom calls, we're Zooming it, and they doing Zoom calls every week, and they taking snapping pictures of their whole team, their whole frame. They're all smiling, and damn well them kids ain't gonna be on them Zoom calls.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're trying to figure out how to survive right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're all trying to figure out how to survive. And it's the truth. Up until today, we probably had 4 Zoom calls with my team. 4. Now, I text them, I talk to them, I talk to them all individually throughout the week multiple times. But I didn't crowd them. I didn't say we're gonna be on this Zoom call, on that Zoom call, because they were just trying to do what I was doing. They were trying to figure out what is life like now.
Right.
Because we've never done it. And when I mean basketball wasn't important, it wasn't important. Because we don't play anyway until November. So basketball wasn't important to me. We wasn't sending them all kinds of workouts and all that kind of stuff because it wasn't important. I wanted them to go home and be around the people that they love, and be able to to be able to try to figure out how they want to function in their environment. So I text and talk to them more individually than we have as a team, because I really felt that was important for them to be able to to figure out life.
Right.
And they've been fantastic. And I one day I had a conversation with them. I said, listen, this is why I'm not doing all these Zoom calls. And I remember after the call, they all text me like, thank you. Because they didn't want to be crowded. Everyone was scared. I mean, think about it. Think about when the pandemic first came out. It was like, if you touch something, you got it. Like, like it was so like crazy, right? It went from, think about it. It went from you doing this, and now you got it.
Right.
Now they got Steve. Now you got. So we're all trying to figure that out. So I want to make sure they can figure it out, because we had players from France, from Latvia, from Australia, to Chicago, to DC area, to Florida. So they're all over the place. And you talk to some people, they're like, no, we're good, everything's open, and the other place like, we can't go nowhere.
Right.
So it's like when you're in that space, the only thing that you can do is to be a support to them and to be here for them, because there was no call that we can talk about with 15 people on it, because everybody's situation was different. So I pretty much talked to all of them individually, and some of them, honestly, I didn't talk to for week and a half or so, because they were trying to figure it out, and they were doing things and trying to, we got players home, trying to babysit siblings, and it was just a whole bunch of stuff, that people, were trying to figure out. And I think that now we're in a much better place as a team from that, because Coach Danzy, what's up, Keith? So we was able to just get through it, and everyone's still intact, and now we're looking forward to kind of getting back together over the next week or so. All our players are coming back between now and July 5th, and we're excited about that. So it's been a blessing for us, man. We're all healthy, and we're all looking forward to coming back, and we have a pretty good team too. So we're excited about that. That's that. With the other stuff is like, where do you start, right? At the end of the day, you have black men that are just being murdered. Let's call it a spade. We just want to take the gloves off and have a real conversation, right? And you're in that situation, and you're a black male, and you know that your life expectancy is about at 30% if you reach for your license and registration when they ask you. That's tough. Because you're a police officer and you're telling me what to do. You say license registration. And I know, and you know this because you're a black male, and maybe you don't feel this way, but I'm talking for myself. I know when I reach for the glove box, I'm nervous. Because we all know a lot of brothers who've got shot in the back of the head reaching for their registration. They say, I thought you were reaching for a gun. That's real. When you go and you're a black male and you comply to what they say. If the police tell me to put my hands up and I put my hands up, I am trusting my life to you. I'm surrendering to you. I give up. And if you put your hands up, you can get shot in the back. That's tough. I'm trusting my life. I'm thinking that if I do what you tell me to do, then I'm not gonna die. Right? I'm gonna ground my hands behind my back. I'm surrendering to you. I'm cuffed. I'm surrendering to you. I tell you, I can't breathe. We all know that as a human being, you have to breathe to live. I'm surrendering my life to you. I'm trusting you with my life. That's the part that really bothers me, that we can surrender and comply to what you ask us to do, and you can still get murdered. That's tough. My son, same thing. It's funny you said this conversation with them. My boy asked me one day, I was talking to him about what's going on, and he said, Dad, you told me that if anything was to happen to Mom, to call 911. Who do I call now? There's no playbook for that stuff, man. It's a time where we all understand it. Everyone has all these angles. I'm just tired of seeing black men getting murdered.
Right.
And then they come back and try to find a reason why it was justified. There's no justification for you shooting me when I'm surrendering to you, for you choking me out when I'm surrendering to you. Because at that point we might as well just go and get down.
Right.
So it's been tough. It's been tough. I know it's been tough for all people. But I've been fortunate, man, to be around some great people, and some conversations that I've had with some of my friends, and it's just been amazing. I've just been around amazing people. I've been very blessed and fortunate from that standpoint.
No question. I appreciate you sharing that with me, and and being transparent about it. It's a tough subject to talk about, but it needs to be talked about.
Exactly.
It definitely needs to be talked about. So, let's get back into let's definitely get back into the conversation about the team. And again, one of the things that I like to talk about all the time, because I love to hear differences of opinions, I like to hear similarities, is the old school athlete recruit and the new school recruit. Obviously, social media plays the big part in the new school recruit and the way things are done. And I love to talk about kids making the sexy pick. You know what I mean? And kids not, really kind of like going through the pros and cons of what's the right school for them. And then now you get this transfer portal, which is out of control right now. And in my opinion, it's because kids are making the wrong decisions from jump. You know what I mean? Like they didn't do their research for jump. It's saying, okay, you know what? I got Syracuse, right? And I got Siena. Well, Syracuse is in the ACC and Siena's in the MAC. So I'm going to Syracuse. Now, you might take them, but you might be able to play right away at Siena and have a better career at Siena, but you go someplace and now you're unhappy because you're not getting the playing time you deserve because you picked Syracuse based on the fact that it was Syracuse and they play in the ACC. So kind of talk about that, you know what I mean? Like, you know, your feelings on that and, you know, and your feelings on the transfer portal in general.
Well, you know, I tell people back in the day, it was back in our days when we got recruited, the schools you went to is the schools you went to basketball camp at. So you knew the coaches, you knew the environment, you knew the team. That don't happen no more. Because back when we were recruited back in the 80s, yeah, I went to 5-star, I went to BC All-Star camp or All-Star camps, but it wasn't 300 coaches standing on the gates watching. You went there to get some good bump. That's why you went. Right? You went to BC All-Star camp because I want to play against you, not because 25 coaches are going to be there, 30 coaches are going to be there. You went because you want to get some real good bump and some good competition and to measure where you're at. So back in our days, we didn't pick schools that were sexy, and quite honestly, you wasn't allowed to do that because you had people in your ear that would tell you that school ain't the right school for you. Now, a lot of people want to put those schools up on their marquee. I have players that went here, and that sometimes becomes a little bit clouded. That people start to pick schools like you say this is not a good fit for them, and that's where the outside influences come in. You know, you have and trust me, a lot of people bash summer coaches and AAU coaches. They are, first of all, they're giving a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort into what's up, Priscilla? Into these kids. You can't bash that person, right? Because they're having kids fulfill their dreams of playing big time basketball or just playing basketball period or getting a free education, right? Or if you're going to a place where you're getting half, whatever, right? So that they have an unbelievable job to do, and but also going through the process, the ones that don't give them the right advice and the sound advice for them, and they're doing it for other reasons. That's when it gets tricky because you're pretty much telling this kid it doesn't matter if you succeed because I got what I needed out of it.
Right.
That's where it gets tougher. That's why I think that the game has changed because back when I was coming out, they're like, you're going there because that's where you can make it and that's your level. I'm not going to send you to a school to where you're not going to play, and that's a big difference. You know, you have some something that had the wrong influences in the game. That's all.
No doubt. So as we get ready to wrap up this interview, I want to hit you with some quick hitters.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So the first question I want to ask is, was there ever an aha moment when you got to Syracuse as the head coach where you knew like, okay, this is the right job. This is where I'm at. I got this under control. Like,
Yeah.
was there a game? Was there a moment? Was there a decision that you made where you were like, this is it right here?
Yeah, it was. It was a game that I lost. A game that I lost that we had under control. And one of those times where I kind of made a decision that when I'm up 3, I always foul. That's my thing. I always foul. But you started listening to different opinions and started doing different things. I didn't foul. Kid banked in the 3, go to overtime. We lose. I'm feeling crazy. Like I knew I should have fouled. Right. And I'll never forget Jim Boeheim walked down the off. One of the first things he said to me. He said, "Son, always foul me on 3." and don't second guess yourself. Crazy. That was the moment when I said, okay. That was my moment. I said, I gotta go with my gut on every decision that I make in this program.
Mm-hmm.
And if I make a decision and it doesn't work out, at least I can go home and feel good about it because that was my decision.
Right. No question about it. So I wasn't going to ask this question next, but since you talked about you lost the game, I'm going to ask this question now. So last night I had Caroline McCombs from Stony Brook on here last night. Okay. So the question I asked Caroline was, is there a game that you wish you could get back? And she
Everything
said yes.
had to go right for us.
I gave Q a game. Merry Christmas. I said, oh, I got Q on tomorrow night.
A platter. Oh. Everything had to go right for us.
Mm.
And everything went right.
Mm.
Facts. She gave us one. And I don't want to say she gave it to us because she didn't make bad decisions. Everything just went wrong for her and right for us. For like 2 months, it was crazy. Facts.
Oh, man.
That is the truth. She is right.
She said she ain't never watching that game, man. She said she ain't never watching that game.
Listen, I'm not either because I think if I watch it again, we're probably going to lose it. She's right. True. Facts.
Was there ever a player, you have the game plan, obviously you guys do a lot of preparation, scouting, whatever the case may be. You get in that game and this player is giving it to you. Timeout. We're going to make this adjustment, da-da-da. You yelled at who you had to yell at. She killing you. Still, timeout. You know what? There's nothing we can do with her. This player got the best of us that night. There was nothing we can do with her. Who was that player?
I really think that for me goes back to when I was an assistant at Siena. We were playing Virginia, and it was my scout. And we were playing against Sky LaRue. She's a beast. But Sky couldn't shoot. I said, Jen, we just can't guard her. I said, just don't guard her. I said, just don't guard her. I said, she won't make nothing. She comes out of court, boom, she hits a three. I'm like, we good. And I'll go without boom, and a three. Don't worry about it. She had 4 threes. Her first 4 shot was 4 threes. Gina called the timeout. She gives me, I go, oh, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Because she making that, we can't stop the other stuff. We're in trouble. That was probably my moment. Oh, and I was like, man, this is a problem. That was probably the only moment that I felt like, man, we got this figured out. And we definitely did not. And she killed me. That was my moment. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, my God. Most exciting game you ever coached in?
I think probably you know, you can always pick the big games. You know, when you upset teams or you win games you're not supposed to win, or going to the Final Four. You know, those are things you say, man. If you know, everybody watches one shining moment, right? And you want to be on it, and like, wow, we really gonna be on it, you know. So I don't want to pick one of those. If I had to pick another game, I would pick we played at St. John's, and Brittany Sykes hit this like a 3/4 court shot, and she banked it in. I mean, we were it was a tie game, and we were on defense. I said, listen, if we get a steal or whatever, just hold the ball and go to overtime. Kid comes off a little curl cut, and she slips, and Britt catches the ball. I'm like, game over, go to overtime, and she just heaved it. And I'm down the other end of the corner, like, oh my goodness, this might go in. But boom! I mean, and I just, and I looked at Joe. I said, good game. Ran to the locker room, and they were like, did they review this? And you gotta go back out there. I said, we gotta go back out there. Y'all gonna be out there by yourself. I'm gonna get in the shower. And that was a game where the bracketologist said, if you don't win this game, you ain't going to the tournament. So it was one of the must-win games, and Brittany banked that thing in, man. That was probably the one I would say, aside from all the other moments.
No question. So I always ask this hypothetical question. I have a daughter who wants to play Division I basketball, and then I want to get into coaching Division I basketball. First, I want you to give my hypothetical daughter some advice, and then I want you to give my hypothetical ambition some advice, because I don't want no parts of what y'all do.
I think the first thing for the daughter is she has to love it.
Mm-hmm.
She gotta love the game, because college basketball is tough. It ain't easy. No parts about it is easy. The grind is not easy. The conditions are not easy. The classwork is not easy. The travel is tough. I mean, everything is tough. It's not an easy thing. So you gotta love basketball more than you hate the grind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what it is. You gotta love it. As far as coaching, same.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta love it, because there's some days where you just don't feel appreciated. There's some days when you don't feel like you can do anything right. There's some days when you feel that you can really like just say, man, I can do without this, because the highs and the lows of winning and losing are so far apart that you guys have to try to maintain some kind of balance on winning and losing, and it's tough. So again, you got to do something that you really love, and basketball has to be it if you're gonna be coaching. And that's why I'm still here, man. It's one of the things where I always loved the game, and the game has provided so much for myself and my family and in my life. And I've seen the world. I've met some great people, and it's one of the things where I just love the game and fell in love with coaching. Still here.
Absolutely. So, last question. When it's all said and done, and you said, you know what, I've coached my last game, how would you like to be remembered as a coach?
Um, that I that's that's tough. I can go so many ways with that, but that I did it my way, and that I made my own decisions, and I can live with it, because I can tell you, man. The one thing that I will say is that I do everything with the best of intentions when I'm coaching and dealing with my players. So I sleep well at night, because I don't ever go into a situation thinking of how can I get over, or how can I screw a player over or a situation over. I don't. I want to win. I'm very competitive, but at the end of the day, I sleep well at night, because I make the decisions that I feel are the best decisions to be made in that situation.
No question about it. And I appreciate that, man. And I appreciate you coming on here with me once again, man, and sharing your time, man, and sharing your wisdom and your stories and everything. And hopefully we get this thing back to normal, man, and I can get up there, man, and check out a practice, check out a game, man. We'd love to see you guys in action, man. Special thanks to, Cliff. I don't know if Cliff got on here or not, but Cliff made this happen for me, and I appreciate that, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man, and we'll definitely be in touch. Thank you so much, Coach.
My man, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir.